It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7. I'm Kevin Keatsman. We are broadcasting live today from the National Golf Club in beautiful Parkville, Missouri. This is one of the most spectacular places in the entire metropolitan area. We are celebrating the work of Team Smile today, which is a wonderful organization that lists as its mission to provide children in need a life-changing dental experience through the power of sports. Today it is a charity golf tournament that will raise tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, mostly because of the generosity and community spirit of people who live, work, and own businesses in the Northland, not the least of which is Dr. Bill Bush and his folks at North Kansas City Dental, a great partner with Cumulus Media as well. He sponsors DJ Kirby's Dance Party every Saturday night over on 94.9. I've known Dr. Bush for a long time. He's a sponsor on my podcast, and he started Team Smile with all these great people in the Northland, and they are now a national organization. Essentially what they do is and we will talk with Angela Brewer about this coming up at 10:30 today. They'll have an event at Arrowhead Stadium later this year in the summer where dentists from all over the area come and work for free. It does cost money, obviously, for the medicine and supplies and to pull this thing off and logistics. And then they give free dental care to kids who can't get dental care. And I just can't think of anything nicer than this charity. TeamSmile.org. Angela Brewer is the Communications and Development Director. She'll join us in a little bit. We saw some folks going off in the rain earlier today. It teed off at 9 o'clock. Will Shields is here, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Lots of folks from the Kansas City Chiefs. Kelly Goodburn, former punter, was here. All kinds of great folks here with the Kansas City Chiefs supporting this event. Casey Wolf will be out here later on, and they'll have an auction, and it's just a great, great, great charity. We're totally thrilled to be affiliated with Team Smile. This is the 5th year in a row I've played in this tournament, and I'm taking a break here for about 90 minutes, not playing, doing the radio show, which is kind of fun because I'm no help for the team anyway. Mark Delatour is on the team. He's the guy, the Kiwi from bestofferkc.com that you've heard. He's on my team today. And he's a very good player, so I'm not sure I can help him at all because he's very good. But they're out there hopefully making birdies while I broadcast with you today. And we've got a nice show lined up for you today with a lot of different topics, but really only one that anybody is talking about here at the National or anywhere. And this is one of those days and times where I don't think the media will do justice to the magnitude of a story. You just heard the top of the hour news break on Fox News. We love Fox News. That was great. They crammed in about 5 or 6 stories. There is only one story. There is nothing else that matters in America today. And this is why last week I took a fairly unpopular stance with a lot of folks when I was talking about Chris Hernandez, the former communications director with Kansas City, Missouri, winning a $1.4 million settlement from the city. And a lot of people were upset that he was cashing in on this thing. And my comment was, what's more important for a government to be honest and transparent with the people that vote for the folks they put in power? What is more important than being honest? Okay, there are times when you can't tell the truth, you can't say it, and you say you have no comment, or that's sensitive, or that's classified. I get all that. But when you're told to go out and lie to people, that's criminal. This Biden White House, and ostensibly the Obama era of the Democrat Party, have just perpetrated the biggest fraud on American voters in our lifetime. I'm not an American historian, but this absolutely could go down in history as the biggest presidential scandal ever. This was completely thought out and planned. Just the recent plan. All right, let's talk about Biden running the first time. It is 90% chance that he had cancer then when he was running in 2020. Then he's president, and he can't get through anything. In 2022, he says on a hot mic, he's giving a speech, he goes off speech and tells us all that he has cancer, and nobody in the media follows up on it. Nobody. It hits social media, and everybody just dismisses it. Oh, he misspoke. He didn't mean that. Nobody follows up on it. Jake Tapper writes a book. It's coming out Tuesday. 2 days before, Joe Biden says he's got aggressive stage 4 cancer with 9 on the Gleason scale. And every doctor everywhere is saying he's had it for 5 to 10 years, and they've all known it. This will not be limited to Joe Biden. It will not. What we're going to find out is the White House was a nursing home, that he was the guy they had to install and put him in there, and that the plan this past year was simple. Run Biden, okay, lie about cancer, lie about dementia, get him in office, get him back in the White House, step aside, give it to Kamala for her to go crazy and do her crazy stuff, all while you're trying to jail or kill Donald Trump. That, folks, factually is what happened in the United States of America. And for some reason, 70 million people still supported it. We knew this. We're just learning details now. You and I, everybody listening to the show right now, we all knew Biden was sick. We all knew that. We didn't need a doctor to tell us that. We knew this. And we knew this was a plan in some way. I think they blew this. I think they should have planned it farther out and said Joe Biden isn't running for health concerns, gotten the sympathy then, made it look like this just occurred while we were in the White House. They blew it, and I was calling that on my podcast 2.5, 3 years ago. I predicted 3 years ago Joe Biden would not be on the ballot. And everybody told me I was crazy. There was no way this guy was going to run again. We saw what he was doing. He couldn't run. They realized he couldn't run, and they pulled him. But what they failed to do was they failed to listen to his brother, Frank. His brother, Frank Biden, when Joe Biden pulled out of the race, was asked succinctly, was health, well-being, and quality of life a major factor in his decision? And Frank Biden said, absolutely, without a doubt, that health was the main reason that Joe Biden was withdrawing. There was no question. Jill Biden should go into some sort of penitentiary for bad wives. I don't know where that is. I don't know what wing of what prison we can have. She wins the award for the single worst wife in America today and the single worst first lady in our country's history. No good wife would ever do this to their husband and put him through this. And I think they're all doing this to him because he does have dementia and he doesn't remember things and he doesn't really know what's going on. And now what? Now we trot him out that he has late-stage cancer. Again, the important thing is almost every doctor agrees that Joe Biden has had this between 5 and 10 years. This is not a first diagnosis. If you read the way they put the statement out, they weren't saying we just learned that Joe Biden has cancer. They say he received a diagnosis that he has a Gleason score of 9 and he's 4 out of 5 on the cancer aggressive scale and it's metastasized to the bones. Well, that's follow-up information on things that they've known for years. You can have prostate cancer for several years, and at some point you go in and get checked out, and they go, uh-oh, it's metastasized to bone cancer. It's now 9 on the Gleason scale. They were very careful not to word this that Joe Biden just found out that he got cancer, because he did not. Now, I'm telling you some things here that are truthful, and you know they're truthful. But I'm going to take it another step that you're not going to hear other people say. This is worse than that. Do you know why it's coming out now? You know why all this is coming out? It's not coming out for us, the American people. It's not coming out for what's right for the voters. These are politicians that run around and scream about oil companies making profits and what's that little fish in the water out in California? We can't build any more dams because this little fish and all this. And these people will do anything to win an election. If they were a law firm, they'd be disbarred. None of them would be allowed to practice again. In fact, there's only really one practice that all these people, and we're talking about hundreds of people now that are in on this. This is hundreds of people that were in on this over the last at least 8 years, 10 years, maybe even all the way back to Obama taking the White House. Hundreds of people involved in this scam. In any other profession, they'd be fired and out and never allowed to work again. You couldn't be a lawyer. You couldn't be a doctor. You couldn't be a talk show host. You couldn't be anything. You'd be banned or disbarred from any profession out there. If you were the stinking Walmart greeter and you organized Walmart greeters to steal and cheat and lie over the course of years at the front door of every Walmart, the Walmart greeters would be let go. This is the only profession in America where you're allowed to stay. And what's happening is it's a circular firing squad right now. They're all pointing guns at each other. They're trying to decide who's going to get shot and who's not, and who's staying in charge and who's going to keep power. It's falling apart at every possible turn on these people. They have no chance of survival here. And as all these people in Jake Tapper's book turned on Joe Biden, that worked for Joe Biden, something happened, probably with Jill, where she said, really? Let's do this. Let's let them all know that Joe's had cancer for a long time. 2 days before the book comes out, we don't know what else is in the book. We don't know what's in there about cancer or health or doctors. Guess what Congress could do? Congress could subpoena the White House physician and ask him under oath if he knew that Joe Biden had cancer. And when that doctor pleads the fifth or client-patient privilege, you'll know. You can get staffers in. You can have a complete and full investigation. And I'm not trying to dismiss the fact that this man is gravely ill and could die in the next few months. I'm not. Okay? But pardon me as an American voter and American citizen for not really caring as much about that as the bigger story. This is why Chris Hernandez deserved his $1.4 million from the city of Kansas City, Missouri. It was Democrats doing Democrat things. It was the same stupid stuff going on at the White House. And it doesn't matter if it's Kansas City, Missouri, or Washington, D.C. These people are criminal. There should be criminal charges. And I'm not the guy. You know this. Everybody's like, oh, they should lock Hillary up for her computer files and bleach bid and all this. Forget the past, okay? This is not the past. This continues to be news every day. People are speaking out about what they saw during the Biden presidency. We knew this was all going on behind the scenes. We just didn't think they were going to turn on each other. I don't know whether Biden's doing this to get those people that spoke to Jake Tapper in that book in trouble. He may be. I don't know if he's doing that or if it's the other way around, or if the people that spoke about that book, that there's something when that book comes out that's so damning about Joe Biden, he had to do this. That they came after him, and now he's trying to save his face with sympathy of, oh, feel bad for me, I'm the sick old man that's going to die. I have sympathy for anybody that's going through an end-of-life health crisis. I do. But that is not the top story here. And when I listen to the news updates and read all the things I'm saying, oh, poor Joe Biden. No. Poor America. 340 million of us were completely and utterly deceived. They still want to talk about Watergate being the biggest scandal in presidential history. They recorded a phone call at the DNC and listened to it on an audio tape. That's it. What was this? This was completely orchestrated as an utter fraud. They tried to jail their opponent. They tried to kill their opponent. They tried to prop up a guy with cancer that has dementia to be president. And then when they made him stand down, and he did, and make no mistake about it, the timing of this thing and him coming out releasing this information could be payback to the people who made him step down for Kamala. He may still be miffed about that. Folks, this is infighting in the Democrat Party in real time. They didn't think any of this was coming out. None of this was supposed to come out. Even after he was dead and gone, it wasn't going to come out. These people were going to take all of this stuff to their grave and say, no, he was always coherent. He was always good. Something somewhere happened. Something has changed since last November. Really, since Biden left the office in January. In the last 4 months, something has changed dramatically within this party. This was never supposed to see the light of day. And yet Jake Tapper says he spoke with hundreds of people who were willing to speak with him about a book. And now Joe Biden's fighting back trying to get the sympathy play. This is a complete and utter hot mess within this party, and we have never seen anything like this. Never. And we are the victims. And this should be a crime. And if it's not, I would call on Congress to pass legislation that presidents of the United States do not have the same private rights as private citizens. They're a public office, the public office. If you have an illness, it must be disclosed. Voters should know. We should know. This should have been Joe Biden through the 26th Amendment taken out a long time ago. They blew it. If they'd have done that 2 years ago and put Kamala in as the first female president, woman of color, if they'd have put her, installed him, taken him out through the 26th Amendment for obvious reasons, of health reasons, nobody would have argued that. We would have all said, okay, that's the right thing to do. Kamala would have had a year and a half to prove to us that she was capable of this. Then she could have run as the incumbent. They blew this. They know they blew this. They blew it because they are born liars. They keep everything internal. They don't share anything with anybody. And again, I'm going to repeat it. Chris Hernandez, way to go. You outed Quentin Lucas and the people of Kansas City, Missouri for what they do. It's the same game on a smaller scale. If you're telling your press secretary, your communications director to go lie to people, make something up and lie. When you're doing that, that has to be a crime. I don't know what law we have to pass, but especially at the level of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, that must be a crime. We have to find a way to put people in jail for doing this. This is treason as far as I'm concerned. This is the worst thing of our lifetime. Nobody has ever perpetrated a fraud on the American public through elections and public office like Joe Biden, these minions, Barack Obama, all of them have over the last 7 or 8 years. This is complete and utter disgrace for the United States of America, and I can promise you I don't really care about this much, but maybe you do. The rest of the world is laughing their ass off that America is so stupid that they put this guy in and that they allowed him to stay and that they believed him when they said everything was okay, Kamala's just going to run. No common sense person would have believed any of that. The people who didn't believe that all voted for Donald Trump. I'm at least proud to be in that category. America is fired up. It is time to make these folks pay for it in some way, for what they have done to us. Mark in Shawnee is up first today. I think he's a little hot under the collar, too. Good morning, Mark. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Kevin. I am fired up, and I'll tell you, I've been waiting for you to drop this bomb. I've thought about this since I heard that her report. I can't believe how naive our general public is and what we call DIMocrats. Hopefully they look at this and say, did they fool me? Did they lie to me? I think of how insulting this is to the American public. I knew this. Here comes the her report. Oh, it's time to slide this out. Poor Joe Biden. He's got cancer. It's stage 4. The doctors that he has, are you kidding me? They knew that a long time ago, for crying out loud. What's scary, Kevin, is to think who has been making the decisions for this country, and that's called the deep state. It's real, and it's a threat to the America that we know and respect, and it's just sickening to me to think that I argue with people about this, and we got to wait for this her report. Now we slide this out. Can you imagine how stupid they think people are? It's just outrageous. So thank you for pointing this out.
Awesome job, Mark. Thank you so much. I love your passion, and I'm in agreement with you on almost everything you said right there. And the incredible part is, looking back, it's all right there out in the open, and it was just all denied. Joe Biden himself in 2022 said out loud when he went off script at a speech that he had cancer. The Her report told us, well, we can't bring charges against Joe Biden because he's a sick old man. We didn't find him to be coherent enough that a jury would just feel sorry for him. You can't bring this before a court. You can't do it. He's a sick old man. This is not the kind of person that we prosecute. He's no threat to anybody. He was the sitting president of the United States, and the special counsel literally told us that he was too sick to stand trial, yet he was still president of the United States. I'm not kidding. I don't know what the laws are, and I never try to play a lawyer on the radio. I'll never. I will play common sense guy on the radio. Pod Boy here will be common sense. We should have laws on the books that these are absolute crimes and big felonies, big offenses. Like the people around him that perpetrated this should get 10 to 20 in white-collar federal penitentiaries. There should be huge, huge punishment for doing this. There is nothing more sacred in our democracy than this. Our republic is not free. It is not fair if this type of thing occurs. You cannot have this. You cannot allow it. And I don't know if there's laws on the books that will allow them to prosecute these people, but I want Congress to call them all in and make them plead the fifth. Every single one of them. I want to see who pleads the fifth and who doesn't, because this is one nasty thing they perpetrated on us. We are at the National Golf Club in Parkville, Missouri, one of the most beautiful places in Kansas City with TeamSmile.org. I just got a phone call from one of my buddies, another sponsor here at KCMO Talk Radio. Stroud's Catering is in for a donation to TeamSmile.org. We'll take all those you can get. We're imploring any of our listeners, if you're charitable at all, consider donating to this outstanding charity by logging on to TeamSmile.org. And we thank our friends at Stroud's Catering. They're in making a donation today. We love that. Your business can make one. You can do it personally. This is a wonderful, wonderful program that helps an awful lot of kids and has grown into something that was just right here in Kansas City, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. This is the 7th year for the golf tournament. Angela Brewer joins us now. She's the Communications and Development Director for TeamSmile.org, and she's a busy lady today. Hello, Angela. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you on. I know you're very, very busy today. This is such a wonderful event. It's the 7th year for the golf tournament. Let's start there on exactly who's involved in the golf tournament, how this all works, and how important this event is for what happens in Kansas City.
Yeah, so it all started actually 8 years ago, even though it was our 7th because we had to skip due to COVID. Right. So Tab Reese is our committee chair, and he started this in memory of his dad, Ted Reese, who just wanted to give back to the community and make sure children were taken care of. So this started in his memory, started small. It's grown over the years. We've got some great sponsors. North Kansas City Dental, Dr. Bush, who's our co-founder at Team Smile, actually is our presenting sponsor. We've got UMB. We've got some great people involved with us. So it's just grown, and it's a great experience to be out here with the golfers.
And so the money that's raised goes to put on these events, and you're going to have your event at Arrowhead in October. How many kids will come through on that? How many dentists are there? How do you pull something that, I mean, there has to be, I know that they volunteer their time. Many of them can, but there's certain costs involved in pulling this off, right? I mean, it costs a lot of money to do this either way.
Yeah, a program typically is around $30,000 to $35,000 in cost. That's for getting into the stadium, and then you've got all of the equipment that we have on site. We take about $800,000 worth of equipment in our trailer to each stadium that we attend. We can serve up to 250 kids between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. that are bussed in. And we do everything from a general cleaning and exam to a full-on extraction on site. All of our people that are on site are volunteers, so dentist office will close their office. They'll bring their hygienists, they'll bring their dental assistants, and they'll come and do that. We have a lot of dentalist students that will come. So we could have anywhere from 17 to 20 dentists on site, 20 or 30 dental hygienists, and then a lot of, probably a good 100 or more general volunteers, because the kids get taken from station to station. So they come in and check in, and then they get their exam and determine if they just need a cleaning or if they're going to actually go get treatment. We've got a DJ on site. We have the mascots, cheerleaders, face painting. So we make it a big, fun experience so they're not scared.
How do the families find you, or how do you find them to know who needs this?
So we reach out to schools who are either on free or discounted lunches. So those are going to be in the most impoverished areas. And then we also make sure that there's transportation provided from the school to the stadiums. So that's kind of how we find it. But we don't have any regulations on income or anything like that. So even if they've got dental care, they can still get treatment through us if they're coming on the bus. It's not a big deal. And
I know this is a difficult thing maybe to talk about, but do you find that there are kids in dire need? Are there kids that are like living in pain that have?
Yes. So, for example, here in Kansas City last year, we did the Monarchs, and we actually just put a call out because one of the schools needed to back out, and it went on to the radio, and we had a family that drove almost 2 hours to get here, and their daughter had an infected abscess tooth, and they didn't have dental care. So they were able to pull that tooth. She'd been having headaches and stomach problems and getting sick, and it's all because of the abscess tooth. So as soon as they did that, the parents contacted us within a week and said she's feeling so much better. And people don't realize that's actually how we started in 2007, was the story of DeMonte Driver went nationwide, and it's a little boy who died because of an abscess tooth that can get in your bloodstream. So Dr. Bill Bush here at North KC Dental reached out to Jason Krause, one of his friends at Henry Schein, and said, this shouldn't be happening. What can we do? And that's how the first program started with the Chiefs, with a few dental chairs and, a few kids. And then the Royals saw it. And so then that happened over there, and then just kind of snowballed to where last year we did 25 programs across the country. And in 2025, we'll be doing 35 programs, with going into 2026, going to 45 programs. And hopefully our goal is to have 2 full teams, so we can really have 2 trucks going, so we can do a program on the East Coast the same time we're doing one on the West Coast.
You're going to do 35 events nationwide this year.
Yes.
This is a Kansas City charity, a startup here that's now nationwide. I'm going to guess the Royals and Chiefs were instrumental in this, in getting you to other NFL stadiums and other baseball teams?
Yes, and helping and reach out, because that's a big part of ours, is trying to get into those new stadiums, like with the Angels and different things like that, and being able to have teams that we've worked with to say, hey, contact the Chiefs. They can tell you how we operate, how to work with us, and have that standing behind us is great.
It almost feels like, as this is growing, it has a chance to become something that everybody in the country knows about. Like Team Smile would just become one of the big national organizations for children, like St. Jude's or something like that.
I think it will. We really are the only organization that does what we do. There are a lot of organizations that will do cleanings and exams and go into the schools, but we're really the only organization that will do from A to Z right there on the spot. And then we're not just a one and done either. So we have the Dental Home Project powered by DentaQuest that we started 3 years ago. So when the parents fill out the forms for the kids, they'll mark if they have a dental home or not. If they don't, Erica Hall is on our staff, and she works with local dentists in the regions that we work with, and they will agree to take kids free of charge or accept their Medicaid. So we'll hook them up with that dentist so that they have continuation of care. So it's not just like they come and they get an extraction. We connect them with that dentist, and then they'll get their annual cleanings. They'll do anything they need to do going forward until they're 18.
Angela Brewer's with TeamSmile.org. Every year after the golf tournament is over, there's a wonderful luncheon and an auction, and all kinds of funds are raised. My favorite part is when a couple of kids who have just graduated college or gotten scholarships or begun their careers or whatever, with their beautiful teeth and smile and the confidence they have, they tell stories about how years ago they were recipients of care from Team Smile, and now they're off into the world and then back here contributing in whatever way they can. there's a personal development angle to this thing too. A lot of these kids appreciate what they get, never forget it. And I don't know if there's mentorships or what happens in the process after they get their care, but it seems like an awful lot of kids who get this care never forget it.
It's a life-changing experience, honestly. It's we had a little boy who they found pull a mini screw out of his gum, and the dentist asked the question of like, why is there a screw in your gum? And he said, I was hungry. He was eating Matchbox cars. I talked to a 9-year-old.
Wait,
he was eating Matchbox cars because he was hungry, so he had a tiny little screw stuck in his gum. So that's the kind of kids we're working with. And then I was in New Orleans last year, and this little girl, we gave her they get their services, and then Colgate's a national sponsor. And so they get a toothbrush, toothpaste, all that stuff. So we gave it to her, and she was like, is this just for me? And we're like, yeah, this is just for you. And she's like, oh, I don't have to share with my brother anymore. Oh. So the family's sharing a toothbrush. I had another little girl who's almost 8, never brushed her teeth. Nobody in the family owned a toothbrush. And people say, it's $1.25. Go to the dollar store, But you know what? They can get a can of Spam for $1.25 and feed their family, or buy a toothbrush. So that's the demographic that we're working with here.
Our listeners can't see it, but Angela's getting emotional here. Right in front of me you are. And I don't know how you do what you do. I've done several of these interviews through the years with different organizations and folks that on a monthly or daily or annual basis see things that we can't even fathom that happen in America today. And that's what I'm sensing from you, is that you see that. And one of the things I've always done is I like to ask folks like you, how do you do this? And not just you, a lot of the other volunteers and staff, how do you process this, and what does it mean to you?
So I've been in nonprofit development for 20 years with national organizations all the way to grassroots organizations. So I've been with other organizations, cancer-related, where I've lost kids, I've lost adults. So for me, honestly, Team Smile is more on the positive. It's emotional because you see it. But everything we're doing is positive. We're changing lives. And this is not just they're going to come in and do this. They're learning. Colgate has an education center. They're learning about how healthy gums and healthy teeth really are going to affect their heart in the future, their overall health. And they're really making these life changes. And so it's so great to see that in those kids and how happy they are. I've got a video I'll be showing later on. It's just children after programs that I recorded saying, thank you for helping me smile again. Thank you for this and that. Some of these kids don't smile because their teeth are so bad. So just having that confidence and to be able to do that is huge for them.
So I'm weak sauce. I'm just a guy with a microphone, right? I'm seriously, I'm weak sauce. I couldn't possibly do what you've done the last 20 years. When did you know? At what point in your life did you think I'm going to dedicate my life to nonprofits and helping other people, no matter how emotional or difficult that was for me personally? It's a calling. When did you know?
So I actually put myself through college doing corporate IT, and I did my internship at college with the Red Cross, the Daniel Boone chapter in Richmond, Kentucky. And there was 2 people on staff. There was a missions person, executive director. So, when you do an internship, sometimes you just don't have a whole lot. And I came in and they said, okay, you're going to be our director of marketing and development. I need you to start events. I need you to run the board. So my portfolio was huge. And just seeing the impact during my internship, I automatically said, this is what I want to do from now on. So I knew moving back to Kansas that I was going to be looking for a nonprofit position, because just being there and seeing the impact from the Red Cross point of view, I was like, this has to be my future, because for 4 years I worked for a corporation and I made a paycheck and I made other people money. But it was kind of interesting taking a huge pay cut, graduating with a degree to go into nonprofit. But it's so worth it to be able to actually go home and know you changed somebody's life, and wake up in the morning and know that you're going to have that positive impact.
God bless you and everyone who does what you do. When I saw you yesterday, we were both here. You had your team setting up for the event today, and I came and brought the radio equipment up to get all set up, make sure we were good to go. And as I was finishing, a couple of the dudes that were hauling in all the heavy stuff, they invited me back to their deck for a Sunday night party. I said, I don't think I can do that. I'll have enough fun on Monday when the thing is over. We'll let our hair down a little bit here at the end. I have a podcast called Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. I do it every day before the radio show. And on the podcast today, I'm just going to repeat this. I live in Lenexa, okay? I think people in the Northland might be the most fun people in the whole Kansas City area. I'm not sure it's close. I think this is it. I think the people involved in this event they're doing great things. They know they're doing great things, but doggone it, they came to have fun too. This is not some bummer of an event. Everybody's having a great time today, aren't they?
Yeah, everybody has a great time on the course. By the time they get off, we got a full dinner. They get full breakfast. They have a full lunch. Beer, water, drinks are just going on the course along with snacks. They get back here. It's a full dinner, open bar, DJ's going. We run into a live auction, a fund a need, do our trophies. So it's just really upbeat the whole time. And people just enjoy it and leave happy and want to come back next year.
I'm just going to start hanging out at the National. Invites to private parties on people's decks and stuff. I'm just going to hang out here, man. This is a great spot. Angela, congratulations on another success. I know it's going to be a great day. You're going to raise a lot, and wipe those tears. It's going to be okay. This was great. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, Angela Brewer is with she's Community and Development Director for TeamSmile.org. We'd love to have your donation today, either personally or through your company. It's TeamSmile.org. If you would like to donate, we'd be thrilled with that. I know everybody hears from time to time about charities and things that happen, and what a lot of folks don't see unless you're involved with one or around them is the people that are really deeply entrenched in these things, and Angela's like that. I've lost track of how many interviews I've done like this where the person gets choked up and she had tears rolling down her cheek talking about the kid that was eating the Matchbox car or whatever and got a screw stuck in his teeth because he was hungry. He just grabbed it and was trying to eat it. Some of the things you hear are just unbelievable. And the folks that do this, man, they don't get paid much. If they do get paid at all, they don't get paid much. And it's truly a calling. And, I mean, they're just better people than me. I'm always going to be honest with you. I don't have it in me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It is amazing that God has created people like this that just wake up every day trying to help others. It is an absolute blessing that our country has millions of people like this in all actuality. Pretty cool stuff. We're with TeamSmile.org today. This is a good one. You want to support a charity, this is a good one. If you want to get involved next year in this golf tournament, get in touch with me or on their website, whatever. Get your business involved. You're going to have the time of your life playing in this tournament. There's a lot of tournaments. You will never have more fun than this. And this course is ridiculous. The National Golf Club is just sensational. Cool stuff. Let's check in with our man Mark Van Sickle back in studio today. We've got a winner. David from Maysville won the Alabama Lee Greenwood tickets. Is that a show you would go to, Mark, if you were just like you didn't have a bunch of kids and married and all that? Would you go to this show or not?
Yeah, that would be one I'd go to. I've never seen Alabama. I have seen Lee Greenwood once. He performed at our 4th of July party out at the Liberty Memorial just a couple of years ago. So I have seen Lee. He's very good live. But Alabama would be fun.
That's very cool. Alan Jackson is another country star, a little bit younger, I think, than Alabama, but maybe about the same age. He has retired. He finished a show in Milwaukee this weekend, said it's his final tour. He's never touring again. He's had some health problems. 30-some years of touring, and the great Alan Jackson has stopped touring. Wow. There you go. Golf on the brain here. If people weren't talking about Joe Biden earlier today at breakfast before the start of the golf tournament, they were talking about Scottie Scheffler. And Scottie Scheffler was really great at the PGA Championship this weekend, and there's a lot to love. He's everything we like. He's MAGA. He's Christian. He's a great dad, father, husband, all of these things. He ran away with this tournament yesterday. What did you think of the field basically, peeing their pants against Scottie Scheffler yesterday? It looked like one of those Tiger Woods wins back in the day, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought Rahm was going to make a little bit of a run, but once Scottie got going in the back nine, it was over. It was absolutely over. So I was glad that I bet on Scottie to win it all before the tournament started.
Now, Scottie's got a thing going on, and this happens with athletes. The more money you make and the more famous you get, the harder it is to be yourself. You, a lot of times, become someone else. And sometimes you have to be Superman to go out and win golf tournaments, or Superman to go win the Super Bowl like Mahomes. And it changes people. Not are you only getting older, but it changes people. I didn't like the way Scottie Scheffler handled this when it was over yesterday. He kept his back turned to the camera at every turn. He didn't want the cameras in his face. I'll respect his privacy, but he has his wife and his baby there in front of the public eye. He goes in. It's very cute. He signs his scorecard, and he had his baby on the floor with him, which I thought was nice. But then he went to the interview room, and they asked him about this Wanamaker Trophy, which is among the top 2 or 3 most famous, coveted trophies in all of golf. It's the biggest trophy. It's huge, the Wanamaker Trophy. They asked him where he's going to put it, and he said, I'm just going to put it in my room at home with all the other crap. And I couldn't believe Scottie Scheffler said that. And he wasn't trying to be funny. And they said, well, you don't have a room for this? He goes, yeah, they call it the golf room, but all my junk's in there, and I don't really know where I'll put it, but I'll put it in there. And I thought if that were a foreigner saying something about America or the PGA of America, we would be going nuts today bad-mouthing somebody from another country doing that. Scotty Scheffler is still everyone's hero. Somebody needs to get to him and tell him to button that stuff up. That's fine if he doesn't have a room that he really wants to display all his trophies. I can actually find dignity and honor in that he doesn't want people coming over and he shows off all his stuff. I get that. But don't call it crap and don't call it junk. I thought that was in poor taste. What do you think?
I think he's sticking to his Christian roots where he just really doesn't find possessions all that important to him. So I'm not going to get on Scotty for that one, honestly.
I'm not getting on him for not having a room or I'm talking about just the words at the news conference.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
I just don't think that was the spot to use the word crap or junk.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't see it, so I'll have to go back and watch it. But, yeah, it's not the best form of words, I guess you could say.
Joe Caglione has been promoted to Omaha. He's the Royals' next big thing. My goodness, the Royals can't hit. Do they need Jack Caglione? Are you going to Omaha, Mark Van Sickle, to see him play?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to go to Omaha to see him play, but I'll try to be there on his first game in KC. I love going to those type of games. I saw Hosmer's first game. I just those are moments that I remember here in Kansas City. I've never gone to the minor league parks, but might be worth it.
The Yankees are here in like 3 weeks. Why not debut him against the Yankees?
Ooh, that would be good. That would be good. I don't think they're going to fast track him. I think they're going to let him play throughout the summer and probably bring him up around September. That would be my guess.
Pretty exciting. Yeah, the Royals got a win yesterday to avoid the sweep, which was obviously a very big deal for them. They didn't want to get swept by the Cardinals. Did you see the Preakness on Saturday, Mark?
I did not. I missed the Preakness.
Okay. They're saying this is the single greatest horse race of all time, and I can't argue that. Now, I'm no expert on that. The horse journalism that finished second at the Derby was tangled up with 4 or 5 horses and had no chance at winning, was like 6-7 lengths behind, and like a NASCAR driver, he slams into the horse next to him, pushes it out of the way, goes forward, and comes from way behind and wins right at the finish line. It is spectacular. You got to watch it.
I got to see this. I'm going to go look that up after the show.
That journalism's a bully, man.
I like it.
Legit bully, no question about it. And maybe my favorite little story from the weekend, which has faded away, has been the Brooklyn Bridge story where the Mexican Navy ran into it with mechanical failure. Chuck Schumer blamed Donald Trump. I've been saving that to end the show. There's no other way to end the show other than Chuck Schumer saying Donald Trump is responsible for a Mexican Navy vessel hitting the Brooklyn Bridge. We're uncanceled. Thanks for listening. The Vince Show is up next.